Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Assembly Judiciary. Welcome to everyone here in Carson City, as well as anyone down there in Las Vegas, and of course, people watching through YouTube or through Nellis. And with that, Committee Secretary, please take the roll.
Assembly members Cole, Dahlia, Gonzalez, Gray, Hanson, Hardy, LaRue Hatch, Marzola, Moore, Nadeem, Orenlicker, Roth, Urick, Chair Miller.
Here. And with that, just a few reminders to make sure you turn down your electronic devices, please. Today, we will have 3 bills that we're hearing, as well as some items that will be work sessioned. I will provide the phone number now for anyone wishing to testify or make public comment over the phone. The phone number is 669-900-6833, and the meeting ID is 8989-268-3517. Again, for anyone speaking, we ask that you please, if you're presenting a bill, keep your presentation to 15 minutes, and if you're commenting, making public comment, or testifying on a bill, please keep your remarks to 2 minutes each. Also, just a reminder that we need you to state your name and please spell it the first time that you speak so that we have it correct for the record. With that, we will begin with our work session. And so I will turn it over to our policy analyst to walk us through the work session items for this morning.
Thank you, Chair Miller. For the record, Cesar Magro, Committee Policy Analyst, and as LCB nonpartisan staff, I can neither support nor oppose any of the measures that come before this committee. The first bill on the work session today is Senate Bill 35, which revises provisions governing certain offenses relating to prisoners. This bill is sponsored by the Senate Committee on Judiciary on behalf of the Attorney General, and there are no amendments for this measure.
Thank you. Members, broadcasting, can we, is there a way we can get a different shot? Thank you. Members, any questions? No questions? I will tell you, as someone who taught on Zoom, that was the very first thing I taught students was please make sure to turn the lid of your laptop down before you move. So, members, any questions? Okay, not seeing any, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion from Vice Chair Marzola. Do I have a second? Second from Assembly Member Cole. Any additional questions about the motion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? And the motion passes unanimously. I will assign that phantom floor statement to Assembly Member Cole. You're welcome. I say phantom because, again, we're not making floor statements. We're passing bills. So with that, next one, SB 62, please.
Senate Bill 62 revises provisions relating to crimes. This bill is sponsored by the Senate Committee on Judiciary on behalf of the Attorney General, and there are no amendments for this measure.
Okay. Members, any questions? Not seeing any, I will entertain a motion to do pass Senate Bill 35. I'm sorry, 62.
So moved.
Okay, so we have a motion from Vice Chair Marzola. Do I have a second? I have a second from Assembly Member Nadeem. Any additional questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? And the motion passes unanimously. I will assign that floor statement to Assembly Member Nadeem. You're welcome. Senate Bill 76, please.
Senate Bill 76 revises provisions relating to security, sponsored by the Senate Committee on Judiciary on behalf of the Secretary of State, and there are no amendments for this measure.
Thank you. Members, any questions or comments? Not seeing any, I will entertain a motion to do pass on Senate Bill 76.
So moved.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Marzola. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Assembly Member Gonzalez. Any additional questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? And the motion, no one opposed? No. The motion passes unanimously. I'll assign that floor statement to Assembly Member Gonzalez. You're welcome. Senate Bill 263.
Senate Bill 263 revises provisions relating to pornography involving minors. This bill is sponsored by Senators Canizaro, Pazina, Dunder, Loop, Wynn, and Doñate, and Assembly Members Dahlia, Hardy, Gray, Yeager, and Marzola, and there are no amendments for this measure.
Thank you. Members, any questions or comments? Not seeing any, I'll entertain a motion to do pass.
So moved.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Marzola. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Assembly Member Moore. Members, any additional questions or comments? Assembly Member Hanson?
Thank you, Chair. I will be yes in committee to get it out, but I'm hoping maybe we could have a little work. I still have some concerns over Section 1, Sub 2, dealing with 18 years and older. So yes in committee and see how things go by floor.
Okay, thank you so much. Anyone else? Ditto from Assembly Member Gray. Anyone else? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? And the motion passes unanimously. I'll assign that floor statement to Assembly Member Moore.
Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Senate Bill 407.
Senate Bill 407 revises provisions relating to the Department of Indigent Defense Services. This bill is sponsored by Senate Committee on Judiciary on behalf of the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Judiciary, and there are no amendments for this measure.
Thank you so much. Members, any questions or comments? Not seeing any, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Marzola. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Assembly Member Dahlia. Any additional questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. That concludes our work session for now. We will move into our bill hearings. All right, and our first bill today is Senate Bill 60 on behalf of the Nevada Silver-Haired Legislative Forum. This bill revises provisions governing crimes committed against older or vulnerable persons. So I understand we have some co-presenters here in Carson City as well as in Las Vegas? Okay. Broadcasting, can we tap into Las Vegas, please?
Chair, we are currently experiencing some difficulties with Vegas,
Okay, then,
but I will let you know as soon as they are joined.
sounds great. Thank you so much. We will just relax for a few moments. Okay, so what's happening is we won't have connection with Las Vegas in time for our co-presenter who has to leave at a certain time. So we're trying to connect them either on the telephone or through a Zoom link. So as soon as we get connected either on Zoom or phone, do you have her? Yeah. Okay, so as soon as that happens, then we'll be able to proceed.
There we go. I think we have it now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Fran, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, then I will go ahead and open the hearing on Senate Bill 60. I think it was open, but please proceed and please remember to, oh, awesome, to make sure to state your name and spell it the first time for the record. So please proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Miller and committee members. I am Fran Almaraz, FranAlmaraz.
Fran, Do you also
Yes.
have an additional microphone or something turned on, or telephone? Because there's an echo. Or maybe it's our,
Hold on a second. Turn off the audio. Turn off cellular. One more time.
Chair, I believe we have visuals on Vegas. If she would like to just speak directly into the mic, we can drop her from the Zoom.
okay, whatever works.
All right, I think we have it. Can you hear me?
Yes, we are all set and very clear. Please proceed.
Thank you. I'll start over. Good morning, Chair Miller and committee members. I am Fran Almaraz, Franalmaraz, and I am proud to serve as president of the Nevada Silver-Haired Legislative Forum, representing District 21 as a forum member. I would like to express my gratitude for the opportunity to present Senate Bill 60 on behalf of the forum. Senate Bill 60 increases protections for seniors and vulnerable individuals against financial and physical harm by deterring criminals from targeting them. Before I begin, I would like to introduce my co-presenters. Sitting next to me is Ashley Kalina, Research Analyst of the Research Division of the Legislative Council Bureau. And joining me in Carson City is Julianne King, Policy Analyst with the Research Division of the LCB. Both have provided nonpartisan staffing services to the forum over the past several years. Additionally, before I begin, I would like to point out one exhibit that was provided to the committee and uploaded to Nellis. This is an informational memorandum about the forum. As a brief overview, the forum was created in 1997 to identify and act upon issues of importance to aging persons. It is comprised of 21 members who must be 60 years of age or older, nominated by state senators and appointed by the Legislative Commission. The forum may submit one bill draft request to each regular legislative session. In recent years, we have seen a disturbing rise in elder abuse, both in the form of physical mistreatment and financial exploitation. Far too many seniors are victims of fraud, scams, theft, and even physical abuse. It is imperative that we take action to protect them. According to Nevada crime statistics, as of November 2024, crimes against elderly people in Las Vegas alone were up more than 50% compared to 2023. During a February 2024 meeting of the forum, representatives from the Office of the Attorney General's Bureau of Consumer Protection provided an overview of the work and services accomplished by the Bureau, particularly its efforts to protect seniors from scams and fraud in our state. Alarmingly, they highlighted that Nevada ranks third in the nation for seniors becoming targets of fraud and scams. In 2023 alone, Nevada seniors lost over $113 million because of fraud. Several forum members also expressed an interest in greater protections for the physical well-being of Nevada seniors. Specifically, they referenced news reports of seniors being severely injured during violent home invasions that took place in 2024 when individuals forcibly entered the homes of senior Nevada residents without consent. The forum held its final meeting and work session in August of 2024, based on a recommendation from the forum president, vice president, Dr. Marilyn Jordan, and me to address these threats. The forum voted to request the drafting of SB 60. The intent is to prevent physical harm and reduce scams and fraud targeting Nevada's senior citizens by deterring such crimes committed against older adults and other vulnerable individuals through enhanced criminal penalties. As SB 60 progressed through the Senate on Judiciary, an amendment was made to the bill that removed certain provisions that would have expanded the list of crimes eligible for additional penalties when committed against older or vulnerable person. Instead, the amendment expanded the list of crimes to include certain forms of theft. Subsequently, SB 60 was referred to the Senate Committee on Finance, where the bill was further amended by applying the additional penalty to deceptive trade practices committed knowingly or intentionally against older or vulnerable adults. This version before you today is the second reprint. With your permission, Chair Miller, I will briefly summarize the bill's key sections. Section 1 of this bill expands the list of crimes against an older or vulnerable person that require the imposition of an additional penalty to include certain forms of theft. Section 1 also applies to the additional penalty to a criminal deceptive trade practice pursuant to subsection 3 of Nevada Revised Statutes 598.0999 when committed knowingly or intentionally against an older or vulnerable person. Section 6 adds these forms of theft and deceptive trade practice crimes to the list of crimes for which a person is also liable for a civil penalty, which may be recovered by the Attorney General. In conclusion, by standing up for our senior citizens, we honor their contributions to our economy and society and reaffirm our commitment to a community that looks after its most vulnerable. Let us be the generation in Nevada that ensures our senior citizens are not only cared for, but respected, protected, and empowered to live their lives with dignity. Thank you for your time and consideration of SB 60, and I'm happy to respond to any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Fran. We're just giving members a moment to formulate any questions or requests. Our first question will come from Assemblymember Nadeem.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. So my question is, what is the most committed crime against seniors as of now? Is it the physical assault or the money fraud? What is number one right now in Nevada? If you have any data, please.
Thank you for the question. I would like to allow Ms. King or the committee's counsel on opportunity to provide a response.
Carly Okrent for the record. I think we'd have to ask somebody that's in either the DA's office or law enforcement to answer that question. I'm not sure.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Do you need a follow-up, Assemblymember?
No, that's fine.
Okay. I guess for me, I would also like to know if it's more physical crimes against the person or property, or with such an increase in phishing and everything else that goes on online. I guess that's definitely where so I see Lieutenant Walker shaking his head. Would you like to come to, do you have anything to add? Yeah.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. Jason Walker, JASONWALKER, representing the Washoe County Sheriff's Office. Just in our experience, what we're seeing is more of the fraud type crimes. Somebody gets an email, says, hey, your Amazon's been hacked, your whatever's been hacked. Please take these gift cards to the Bitcoin ATM. And just in my memory, over $1 million in those fraud type crimes. You still have some of the violent crimes against the seniors, and that's more in a domestic incident, something like that, where that is an enhancement. You get a DV call or something like that. But what we're seeing is more of the phishing, fraud, bring me your money type crimes. And again, that's only from Washoe County. I can't speak for any of the other counties that are out there.
Thank you so much. Our next question is from Assemblymember Roth.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you so much for the presentation. Just based on that, my question is in regards to the knowledge aspect, especially when we're talking about these kind of like phishing or things like that. How do we know with those if they're actually targeting seniors?
Thank you for the question. Through you, Chair Miller.
Oh, please go direct.
Oh, thank you. To Assemblymember Roth. Julian King, LCB Research Division, for the record. So that was also a concern in the Senate Judiciary Committee, and so language was added to the bill that someone must knowingly and intentionally commit a deceptive trade practice crime against an older or vulnerable person to address those concerns.
Sure.
Thank you, that makes sense. And then what about in situations of just like petty theft? You know, if we're talking about a 60-year-old, they may look younger than that, they may look older than that. I'm just, you know, at what point how do we deal with that?
Carly O'Krent for the record. It looks like the bill distinguishes between crimes that are punishable as misdemeanors and crimes that are punishable as felonies. So I think the same logic would apply with respect to the intent. It's just that the additional enhancement is equal to the amount of time if they're in jail and it's a misdemeanor offense, and then there's a separate process and considerations if it's a felony offense. If that answers your question. If not, I'm happy to.
Okay. Before we go into, because I still have some questions about knowingly and intentionally, because it's different depending on what the crime is. Our policy analyst also has some stats that he pulled up for Nevada.
Cesar Melgarejo, Committee Policy Analyst, for the record. Chair is correct. So there's Nevada crime statistics.nv.gov. Does have statistics for the last couple of years for crimes against the elderly, and this website tracks the abuse, neglect, exploitation, isolation, and the abandonment against persons 60 or older, and it's tracking for year 2025. It's tracking 3,211 cases, which is currently 68.55% lower compared to 2024. And the type of offenses is tracking 86.3% of the offenses are abuse, and 13.7% of the offenses are exploitation. And again, this is just for the calendar year 2025, so it's just January, February, March, and April.
Thank you. So could we, if we're looking at abuse and exploitation, would that support what Lieutenant Walker said about most of it is more domestic than? Can you extrapolate that, or is there any additional details? Okay, thank you. We'll go on to our next question from Assemblymember Cole.
Thank you, Chair. So my question is sort of a general nature. How often are these crimes being prosecuted now? And will this actually make it so that they're prosecuted more? Like, I feel like, you know, if they're not big crimes, people are busy, right? Prosecutors are very busy and they're prioritizing what they actually go after. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Assemblymember Cole. Julian King, LCB Research Division, for the record. I do not have the specifics of that information at the moment. I'm happy to get that information to you right after the hearing. I do have some information from the Federal Trade Commission that in the year 2023, there were 46,000 total reported frauds, and the median fraud loss was about $649. However, I'm not sure about the prosecution rate.
Assemblymember? Are you good? Yeah, that's okay. Okay, thank you. So then I would like to ask some questions because there's no doubt that that people in certain different groups become more vulnerable to certain offenses merely because they belong to certain groups, right? And so we know that there are often when it comes to it, and I have to say, this is a bill that personally, it's hard to refer to elderly when we're talking about the age 60. It's hard to refer to what's the term I saw? Vulnerable and vulnerable persons when we're referring to the age of 60. I mean, there's many people in this room that are 60 or about, and I see the hands going up. And again, if anyone wants to try to take down Lieutenant Walker because they think he's older and vulnerable, I mean, have at it, right? So I would say that would be my first question. And again, we're trying to celebrate the fact that we are living longer and staying stronger and staying healthier as humans than we ever have. And so first, I guess my question is, where did the age 60 come from? Because many folks, 60 just isn't the 60 that many of us grew up seeing. 60 is, like I said, there's a lot of 60 in this room. So where did we get the age 60 from to decide? And I don't know if that's just something that, if it comes from I guess I should ask for silver-haired forum. How old is, when we look at the silver-haired forum, and we know you can be silver-haired at 27, but what is the age for that forum?
Thank you for the question, Chair
Thank you.
Miller. Oh,
For the question, this is Fran Alvarez. The guidelines for the forum is you must be 60. And where we got the age of 60 for this bill, it came from the AG's office as what they consider, an elderly person. I hope that answers your question.
It does. And I would just let you know, most of us here do not consider that elderly anymore. So, but I understand that it's consistent and aligns with what's existing law. With that, then too, I'm thinking of, again, different crimes. There's crimes where, physical or violent crimes, and I'm taking away from domestic relationships, right? That's a whole different level of abuse. But let's just talk about strangers, right? Like if someone decides to rob you and making that decision, I would assume people, crimes are often out of opportunity or someone appears more vulnerable. How do we've had a lot of questions this session about how do we prove knowingly and intentionally, right? So knowingly, we have 60-year-olds who appear much younger, right? We have younger people who appear much older. We just had a bill yesterday talking about age isn't always just determined visually. So could you speak onto that, how we would, how this bill would apply in those situations?
thank you for the question, Chair Miller. Julianne King, LCB Research Division, for the record. I'm not sure I'm able to answer that question. I'm not an attorney. I'm wondering if maybe the committee counsel may have some thoughts on that, how that would be used.
Sure. Carly O'Grant for the record. Chair, would you mind repeating your question? I'm so sorry.
I guess the question is, so, an enhancement for attacking or, robbing someone 60 or older. So, again, this is nothing to do with domestic relationships. Let's just take the typical, a characterized crime of a person's walking down the street and someone decides to rob them. And so this person, the person who commits the offense may have done it out of opportunity, a lot of opportunities of vulnerability that had nothing to do with their age or what they thought their age was. Because again, you can't just look at a person and determine whether or not they're 60 or not. We have people that are 40 that look over 60. We have people that are 70 that look 50. So how would this bill, I know obviously that would be a major part of the defense in the courtroom, But again, it's because we're looking at putting enhancements on something that is very subjective and may not have anything to do with the reason why the crime was committed.
Carly Okrent, for the record, I think the answer to your question is likely that the court would be, in a position to decide whether or not the criteria for the enhancement have been met. And that's kind of.
Okay, thank you, because enhancements, just like hate crimes, they are very difficult to prove. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm just
Chair
looking.
Miller,
Yes, please, continue.
this is Fran Alvarez. I would like to give you maybe an observation of, as the forum members, most of them are well past 60. And they have, in their communities, seen elderly people who are vulnerable. They may be, the lady might have her purse over her shoulder, walking in a parking lot. You can tell she's elderly, and someone runs by and grabs that bag. That's intentional. I think once the crime is in the courtroom, they will decide if it is indeed intentional. I don't know if that helps.
Yes, thank you so much. And again, there's no question about the vulnerability of, older people and, especially with a lot of the fraud and the online stuff. But again, it's the challenge to prove it, because a lot of these phishing schemes are just sent out to everybody. And I know in many of us, our personal lives, we're always trying to remind folks, like someone just said, oh yeah, we're all missing, none of us paid our toll bridge fees this week, right? And we've all gotten how many texts this week that says that we didn't pay our toll, even though there's no tolls in Nevada. So thank you for that. Nope, there's no toll bridges, but we keep getting those texts that we need to pay them. Any additional questions, members? Okay, then with that, I will go ahead and move on to testimony and support. So we'll begin with testimony and support of Senate Bill 60, starting here in Carson City.
Good morning, Chair Miller and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Susie Martinez. I am the Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Nevada State AFL-CIO. And just wanted to invite you guys, when I turned 50, I actually got my AARP magazine. So, that's what happens when you start getting a little older. But, we are here in full support of the bill. We have many union members that, get to retire. And one of the things that we always advocate for them, not only when they're in the workforce, but also when they finally get the chance to retire, we want them to be safe and enjoy their retirement. So that is why we are in full support of the bill. So thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Martinez, will you spell your name for the record, please?
Yes, it's Susie Martinez, SUSIE MARTINEZ. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You remind me, a better question we should have asked is, what is our oldest person that is in the silver-haired forum or even in your union? Do you know?
That one I do not know, but we can get back to you.
All right, let's do that. Okay, next, please.
Thank you, Chair Miller, members of the committee. My name is John Jones, here on behalf of the Nevada District Attorneys Association in support of SB 60. Chair, I do apologize. I missed the bulk of the presentation, but I do want to try to answer at least a few questions. With respect to Assemblymember Cole's question about how much we see this, we do in Clark have two deputies whose job it is solely, along with a few other responsibilities, is to handle these elder exploitation and elder abuse cases. So I don't have the exact stats on me, but I can get those if you're interested. But we do have two full-time deputies. Additionally, with respect to theft, So in Nevada, we're unique. We have both common law crimes of embezzlement, obtaining money under false pretenses, and the larceny itself. But then we've also have a comprehensive theft statute, which is essentially the exact same crimes rolled up into comprehensive theft. What SB 60 does is allow us to seek an elder enhancement on the comprehensive theft offense, because we can already do it on the common law offenses of embezzlement, obtaining money under false pretenses, and larceny. So this just clarifies that, yes, we can do it in both the common law offenses and the current comprehensive theft crimes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, Chair Miller, members of the committee. Jason Walker, JASONWALKER, representing the Washington County Sheriff's Office as well as the Nevada Sheriffs and Chiefs Association, supporting Senate Bill 60. By expanding this list and increasing penalties, I am hopeful that this would be enough of a deterrent to prevent the continuance of these crimes from being committed against our senior citizens. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else here in Carson City? Is there anyone there in Las Vegas that would like to testify in support of Senate Bill 60? Not seeing any. Broadcasting, will you open the lines?
If you would like to testify in support of Senate Bill 60, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Again, if you would like to testify in support of Senate Bill 60, please press star 9 now.
Good morning, Chair Miller, Vice Chair Marzola, and committee. My name for the record is Terry Laird, T-E-R-R-I.
I'm sorry, Ms. Laird, we're having trouble hearing you. There's a lot of noise in the committee room right now. Could you please go ahead and restart?
Okay, you got it. My name for the record is Terry Laird. I am the Executive Director of RPEN, the Retired Public Employees of Nevada. We have nearly 7,000 members statewide in 17 chapters. I'd say the bulk of our members are 70 plus. Several are in the mid to late 80s, some are nearing 90. I do know of several who were victimized by a phishing scam online. Many are widowed, living alone, and whenever the phone rings, they're quick to answer in the hope of having someone to talk to. And this leaves them very vulnerable to being taken advantage of. If crimes against seniors were treated more seriously, maybe the criminals and scammers would stop. I myself turned 69 this month and also have silver hair, but like many, I don't consider myself elderly. However, I'm computer savvy and am of the opinion that I don't trust anyone, especially when phone calls come into my cell phone. I never answer them. We do support this Senate Bill 60 and would like to ditto comments from Fran Alvarez, President of the Nevada Silver-Haired Legislative Forum today, as well as her comments posted online at Nellis. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Laird, could you spell your name for the record, please?
One moment, Chair. Caller with the last 3 digits, 891. Please press star 6 to unmute your phone.
Yes, my last name is my first name, Terry, T-E-R-R-I, last name, L-A-I-D.
Thank you so much. Next caller, please.
You're welcome.
Chair, there are no other callers wishing to testify in support.
Okay, thank you. Then I will open it up for opposition testimony here in Carson City.
Good morning, Chair Miller, committee members, Angela Knott on behalf of the Washoe County Public Defender's Office, ANGELAKNOTT. Our only opposition today is with the intentionally and knowingly aspect. The way I'm reading this second reprint is that the intentionally and knowingly is only applying to the deceptive trade practices and not the theft. So our suggestion would be the intentionally and knowingly also for the theft, because there are instances where you might not know that the person is over the age of 60, you're running by, you take their cell phone and you go. Shouldn't happen, but it does. And I think if you're targeting them specifically, absolutely get the enhancement. But I think you need to have the knowingly and intentionally apply to the theft. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Miller and members of the Assembly Judiciary. Paloma Guerrero, Paloma-Guerrero, on behalf of the Clark County Public Defender's Office. We read this the same way, and I think if we're talking about an enhancement that's 1 in 20 years, we need to have that knowingly and intentionally element on there. Thank you.
Tanya Brown, TONJABROWN. I ditto the previous comments. I personally know of people who have been victimized, who were over the age of 60, and they did not look at all their age. And the defendant had no idea at the time either. And you've heard of Miss Anne-Marie Grant has called in. I met her a few years ago, and she is pushing 45. And to look at her, you would think she was barely 30. Just to give you an idea. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Brown, did you state and spell your name for the record?
Again.
All right, let's do
Just
it.
in case. Tanya Brown, TONJABROWN, Advocates for the Inmates and the Innocent. Thank you.
Thank you. Even though I'm sure we had that for the record anyways, but is there anyone else in opposition? Not seeing anyone. Is there anyone there in Las Vegas in opposition? Not seeing anyone. Broadcasting, will you open the lines?
If you would like to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 60, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Again, if you would like to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 60, please press star 9 now. Chair, there are no callers wishing to testify in opposition at this time.
Thank you so much. Then I will go ahead and open it up for neutral testimony. Not seeing anyone here or in Las Vegas. Broadcasting, will you open the lines, please?
If you would like to testify in neutral for Senate Bill 60, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Again, if you would like to testify in neutral for Senate Bill 60, please press star 9 now.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Stephen Cohen for the record. Stephen with a B. Cohen as a now former Assemblywoman, testifying in neutral this morning because of the definition of vulnerable person appearing to not be in there at all unless it's referenced somewhere that I'm not reading. And then also because I would love to see people with disabilities classified in there, albeit probably not till next session at this point, but I'm happy to work with the stakeholders to work on that. Thank you, I yield.
Thank you so much. Next caller.
Chair, there are no other callers wishing to provide neutral testimony.
Thank you. Then I will go ahead and welcome the bill presenters back up for any final remarks.
Thank you, Chair Miller and committee members. I'm Julian King, LCB Research Division for the record. I believe President Almer has had to leave, but I just wanted to thank the committee for its time today and also put on the record that as nonpartisan staff, I cannot advocate for or against any measure, including SB 60. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And with that, I will go ahead and close the hearing on Senate Bill 60. Next, I will go ahead and open the hearing on Senate Bill 85, which revises provisions relating to public safety. And so whenever you're ready, your hearing is open. Please proceed.
Good morning, Assembly Judiciary Committee. My name is Melanie Scheibel. I'm the State Senator for District 9. Happy to be here talking to you this morning about SB 85, along with my friend Leo Benavides from UNLV. SB 85 extends a study program that we started 2 years ago between law enforcement agencies in the state of Nevada and the University of Nevada in Las Vegas to understand traffic stops and gather data about law enforcement of traffic laws. And so the study has been going, I would say, well. For 2 years, law enforcement agencies have been collecting data when they stop people for traffic violations, and they have been sending that data to UNLV's medical school in order to analyze it and in order to try to make to analyze it so that we can make better informed policy decisions. At this point in time, the program has been running for over a year. We have almost 2 years worth of data, and the UNLV Medical School are serious professional scientists who are unable to draw conclusions with only 2 years of data. It's kind of like if we were trying to do a survey of Nevadans and we only picked 100, that wouldn't be a representative sample. Having just 2 years of data is not enough for the UNLV School of Medicine to make reasonable inferences about any patterns that may or may not be emerging from the data that they are collecting. So SB 85 proposes extending this study. UNLV estimates that they will probably need between 1 and 2 years more data in order to be able to draw statistically significant conclusions from any patterns. And the purpose of doing all of this is so that we can better enforce our traffic laws and prevent fatalities in traffic and increase public safety. The types of questions that we're trying to answer with this data are, where are the most fatalities happening? Where is the most enforcement happening? Are those two places the same? Are there places that we're missing? Are there types of enforcement that seem to be underutilized, overutilized, leading to decreases in traffic accidents and fatalities, having no effect on traffic accidents and fatalities, so that when we continue to come back to the legislature and continue to work on traffic safety laws and bills, we can make informed decisions about which policies we should be continuing to develop, which ones might not be effective anymore or effective at all. And so by passing SB 85, we will be continuing that program, allowing the law enforcement agencies to continue providing data in the same way they have for about the last 2 years, for 1 to 3 more years, in order for them to be able to make statistically significant inferences about the trends and patterns in traffic stop data. I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Benavides very briefly to provide some additional information.
Thank you, Senator Scheibel. Leonardo Benavides with UNLV for the record. We also have on Zoom available for any questions and answers from our stop team, Dr. Max Gack. So we're here and ready to answer any questions you might have on this.
Thank you so much. Our first question is from Assemblymember Urick.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I have been, it sounds like from what you just offered is that we're just short on data. We need a little bit more. The concern, I think, and by the way, I think in talking to some of the other stakeholders, the law enforcement agencies, they're talking about some logistical challenges with the Brazos system, and getting this data is proving to be a little bit more difficult than I think people would like. And with the idea that it would only be another couple years of data, the bill right now suggests just ending it and keeping it in perpetuity. And that I think is causing some consternation, not for fear of the actual results of the data, but the logistical challenges. And so my question is, would you be amenable to an amendment that might maybe give it another 2 years and then have it sunset, or working with those stakeholders to get you the data you need without creating this long-term problem?
Yes, Leonardo Benavides. We've spoken with Metro previously on requiring, or at least extending for the biennium, and I think that would make sense if that was the case. We do need at least another 2 years of data in order to make sure we have those significant statistics.
And I would just like to mention that this is an interim committee bill that Chair Scheibel and I chaired, and both houses, and so this was well flushed out and had a lot of discussion and opportunity during the interim, and that's where the bill came from. Thank you for that. Our next question will be from Assemblymember Nadeem.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you for the presentation. Thank you for bringing such an important topic, and this is very, very important that we need to know what is the reason. So my question is that the data that we have right now for 2 years, so is there any result coming out from there? Is there any rough draft or some information? I would love to know more about that. Thank you.
Leo Benavides with UNLV. I will direct this to Dr. Gack over Zoom.
Great. Thank you so much, Max Gack, G-A-K-H, first name Max, at UNLV. Great question. We've currently produced 2 annual reports, and they are available on our project website, publicly available. So we have in those reports high-level descriptive information, But what's really difficult to do without more data is anything that involves statistical analysis that would be more complex or sophisticated. But we do have the 2 reports already online that are that have descriptive information in them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Not seeing any additional questions, I will go ahead and open it up for support of Senate Bill 85, beginning here in Carson City. Not seeing anyone here in Carson, but seeing someone there in Las Vegas. Please proceed with your support testimony.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Miller and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Dr. Noe Antolin, Noeantolin. I am here in support of SB 85. I am a member of Nevada's Statistical Transparency of Policing STOP project team. Through this grant-funded initiative, UNLV partners with the Nevada Department of Public Safety's Office of Traffic Safety to analyze traffic stop data across the state. We use this data to identify patterns, support enforcement strategies, and reduce serious fatal crashes on Nevada's roads. Data-driven enforcement improves transparency, accountability, and public safety. Over the past 3 years, our team produced 2 reports providing a baseline overview of traffic stop data. We're now working on our 3rd report along with a public-facing dashboard to make the data accessible. Our team has conducted extensive research and collaborated with others doing similar work. One key insight: multiple years of consistent data are essential to uncover meaningful patterns through advanced statistical analysis. Long-term data collection enables nuanced findings that strengthen enforcement and reduce citations, crashes, injuries, and deaths. This project relies on traffic stop data collected by Nevada law enforcement officers as required under state statute. These requirements were designed to be efficient with minimal reporting burden and were supported through electronic data systems to streamline processes and enhance roadway safety. However, these requirements expire at the end of 2025. SB 85 removes that sunset provision to ensure traffic stop data collection continues. And with that, extending data collection is necessary for ongoing high-quality analysis and to inform evidence-based policy. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in support today of SB 85.
Thank you so much. Not seeing anyone else there in Las Vegas. Broadcasting, will you open the lines, please?
The public line is open and working. There are no callers for support at this time.
Okay, thank you. Then I will open it up for opposition testimony, beginning here in Carson City.
Good morning, Chair Miller, members of the committee. Jason Walker, Jason Walker, representing the Washoe County Sheriff's Office. Up to the date, last minute texts regarding, and it was brought out in presentation, the first reprint as drafted has no end date. It sounds as if the presentation wants to just go an additional 2 years to get that information that we are looking to hit. In conversations with my other law enforcement partners, we are amenable to that, but just for the rules of the committee, soft op as of right now, and willing to work with the bill sponsors to get that amendment out there and agreed upon.
Okay. But just so you know, we're the bill sponsors.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So.
Just wanted to get that out there that we'd like to get that 2 years plus amended into that.
Okay, thank you so much. Anyone else, not seeing anyone else here in Carson City, is there anyone there in Las Vegas that would like to testify in opposition? Not seeing anyone. Broadcasting, will you open the lines?
Public line is open and working. There are no callers for opposition at this time.
Thank you. Then I'll open it up for testimony in neutral. Anyone here in Carson City or Las Vegas? Not seeing anyone. Broadcasting, will you please open the lines?
The public line is open and working. There are no callers for neutral at this time.
Thank you. Then I will go ahead and welcome the bill presenters back up for any final remarks. Okay, so I will go ahead and close the hearing on Senate Bill 85. Next on the agenda is Senate Bill 323. And so I will open the hearing on Senate Bill 323, which revises provisions relating to offenders. And so I see you have a co-presenter on Zoom. Okay, your bill hearing is open, so please proceed when you're ready.
Thank you so much. Melanie Scheibel again for State Senate District 9, and I am thrilled to be here presenting SB 323. It is an absolutely fantastic bill with only an even more fantastic story behind it. My co-presenter, Max Greenstein, was a youth legislator during the 2023 session when we implemented this pilot program. He has agreed to come back and help me with this bill, even though he is now in college at Yale, incredibly busy, and he gets no class credit or any pay for this, but has been just a tremendous advocate, and I couldn't possibly speak to the bill better than he can, so I will turn it over to Mr. Greenstein now.
Well, thank you, Senator Scheibel, for the introduction, and thank you, members of the committee, for your time this morning. My name is Max Greenstein, Maxgrinstein for the record. I'm a former Nevada youth legislator and a graduate of the Davidson Academy in Reno. And while I'm in Connecticut for college, I appreciate the opportunity to present this morning virtually. Given that the end of the session is rapidly approaching, I'll keep my remarks today short. At the same time, I think it's valuable to provide an overview of how SB 323 found its way to this committee. 2 years ago, Senator Scheibel and I drafted Senate Bill 234 to create a pilot program to provide free, daily, 15-minute phone calls to the inmates at Florence McClure Correctional Center, allowing them to stay in touch with their families on the outside. While SB 234 passed both chambers unanimously and was signed into law by Governor Lombardo in 2023, the pilot program that it created has since run its course. And so I'm back this session with a simple ask: for the legislature to extend a program that has kept hundreds of Nevada families together over the past 2 years. The statistics about the thousands of free phone calls that have been placed through the pilot program are impressive in their own right. But more persuasive than that are the voices of Nevadans who have benefited from SB 234. In fact, we've received several letters from incarcerated Nevadans who have been able to foster renewed relationships with their children because of the program. I want to share excerpts from 2 of the letters that have been most meaningful to me. One woman at Florence McClure wrote that when she first called her 3-year-old daughter after the pilot program was enacted, she asked her daughter if she knew who she was talking to. Her daughter's response, no. Her daughter lit up when learning that she was speaking to her incarcerated mother, exclaiming over the phone, "Wait, you're my mom?" Now, because of the free phone calls provided by the pilot program, this woman writes that she's been able to have consistent daily communication with my 3-year-old daughter so she can get to know her mommy even though I'm unable to be there. Another woman incarcerated at Florence McClure wrote to us in the summer of 2023, shortly after Governor Lombardo signed SB 234 into law. "I feel lost and alone without my family," she wrote. "My small tribe is the pulse in my heart, but it's a faint pulse since I can't even contact them. My family, who are financially crippled, can't afford phone time," she continued. "However, in the past 3 days, I've talked to them every day." Her letter ended with one final ask: "Please turn this pilot program into a permanent practice. Please and thank you, and God bless." And so, echoing that woman's words, I, along with Senator Scheibel and the rest of SB 323's sponsors and co-sponsors, would like to ask the committee to not let a program that has benefited so many Nevada families die. Pursuant to the original language of SB 234, the Department of Corrections completed a report evaluating the successes of the pilot program. That report, released in February 2024, blew me and Senator Scheibel away. According to the Department of Corrections, 93,394 free calls were placed in total at Florence McClure between July 2023 and January 2024. The total number of calls, both free and billable, during the pilot period increased communication with family and friends by 23%. And, perhaps most importantly, the report found that the population in general felt happier, less stressed, and had a greater sense of well-being. Having daily interaction with loved ones, the report goes on to state, improved daily functioning, quality of life, and stability for everyone at Florence McClure. Now, I should also add that Director of the Department of Corrections, James Zorinda, testified about SB 323 a few weeks ago before the Senate Finance Committee. He noted that the pilot program from last session had actually led to a reduction in violence at Florence McClure. Quote, "When you have something that means this much to those offenders, they take it more serious," he said, "and you start seeing reductions in violence and reductions in incidents so they don't lose their phone calls." Now, I appreciate that this bill requires an appropriation of approximately $250,000 a year from the general fund. And I know that, especially in this session, there are constraints on the state's limited budget. At the same time, I want to draw the committee's attention to something that Senator Titus said when she very graciously rose to support this bill on the Senate floor on Monday. She said that SB 323 is a, quote, "small investment compared to the social improvement it generates." As the strong fiscal conservative that I am, she continued, I believe in this bill. It has made a difference. Needless to say, I very much appreciate Senator Titus's viewpoint on this bill. The bill has a cost, but it will save the state more costs in the long run. Savings from avoiding recidivism, savings from deterring children with incarcerated parents from becoming offenders themselves, savings associated with improved behavior in prison. SB 323 passed unanimously in the Senate. In joining your Senate colleagues and supporting this bill, the Assembly would be promoting an affordable, accessible, and fiscally responsible policy, not to mention enabling Nevada children to hear their own parents' voices. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee might have.
Thank you so much for your well-developed presentation. Although I will say we are much more focused on, especially if you are a parent or a child or both who have experienced being separated from your parent at any point for any reason in your life, or separated from your child at any point for any reason in your life, we know the utmost importance of being able to be connected and communicated. But we appreciate your details, your data, and research and well-developed presentation as well. With that, we will go ahead and start questions from Assemblymember Urick.
Thank you, Chair, and I would like to echo the Chair's comments about a very great presentation. As I've been here, we hear a lot about studies, and I don't often, probably because I'm still new, hear the results of these studies, and to hear how well this went is really encouraging. And I am going to confess I'm fully supportive of the policy aim of this bill, but I do have kind of a nuanced question, and at the risk of being Toby Downer here, regarding the scope of the bill, right, and a potential challenge with equal protection. And I'm sure you've probably thought that through, but because on its face, right, this is kind of gender-based with resources directed towards a women's correctional facility, it's likely to face some intermediate scrutiny. And so I'm just curious, how have you addressed that, or how might that concern or a claim of an equal protection violation be addressed?
Melanie Scheibel.
Thank you very much.
Please, I was just going to say that Mr. Greenstein can answer this question.
Thank you. Through Chair Miller, I appreciate the question.
Please go direct.
Of course. I appreciate the question, Assemblyman Urick. This is actually something that we've discussed extensively, so I'm glad that you have brought it up in this setting. I've prepared actually a memo for the governor's office that Senator Scheibel and I submitted that I'm happy to submit for your review and for the committee's review after this meeting. But I think just generally, SB 323 passes the intermediate scrutiny test for two main reasons. The first is that, ostensibly the bill is completely gender neutral. There's no language in the bill that has anything to do with classifying inmates based on their gender. If you read the bill, the only language that's classifying inmates is based on institution, and that institution is ostensibly, like I said, gender neutral. It just so happens that Florence McClure is Nevada's main women's correctional center, but the bill doesn't include language that classifies inmates based on gender. Just for some historical overview about why that's the case, why this bill is specifically focused on female offenders at Florence McClure. Like Senator Scheibel mentioned, this bill started in a different form, SB 234 in the 82nd legislative session in 2023. And originally we wanted to draft a bill back in 2023 that would provide free phone calls between children and their incarcerated parents. But we spoke with Director Zorinda, we spoke with the Department of Corrections, and we realized that for a number of reasons that wouldn't be possible. One of the big reasons that the department raised is that the state doesn't have the phone call infrastructure at every facility to be able to support an increased volume of calls from offering free calls. And so we settled as sort of an intermediary solution until that infrastructure can be installed and until offenders have tablets to limit the scope of the program to Florence McClure. So I think that's sort of the first equal protection response, that the bill is completely neutral. We're just classifying inmates based on institution, not gender. The second way I would address this question is that there's an existing disparity in the programming that's offered between men's facilities and women's facilities in Nevada. Last week, I dug up the data, and I'm happy to share it with you after in the memo, that there are really an extensive number of programs that male offenders have access to that female offenders do not, which itself is an equal protection problem that this bill sort of seeks to rectify. I hope that answers sort of the gist of what you were asking.
Yeah, I really appreciate that thoughtful analysis. And if you can send me that, I would be really grateful, because I've even thought through some ways to help keep this and address that concern if I have concerns with that data. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Assemblyman Yurick, I'm happy to accept an amendment to include all male prisons as well, if the funding was there, because we know parent and child is so important. I don't see any additional questions at this point. Again, thank you so much for your preparation. So I will open it up for testimony and support, beginning here in Carson City for Senate Bill 323.
Thank you, Chair and committee members. My name is Nick Shepak, Nickshepak. I am the Nevada State Director of the Fines and Fees Justice Center. Working with Max over the past two sessions has been one of the absolute highlights of the last two sessions. He is an amazing individual and has put together a program that is wildly successful. Reducing the cost of phone calls, making them free, allowing people to talk to their kids has had an extremely positive impact. It is a program that we need to keep. And I will echo his comments that we often do institutional specific programming. Certain things get offered at one facility that are not offered at others. There are also women held outside of this facility. There's Gene Conservation Camp. There is Casa Grande. They are not eligible for these free phone calls. So just like if we have a trucking training at one facility and not at any of the others, this would be a program that we're offering at one single institution. And so we do think it passes muster there, but anything we can do to keep this amazing program would be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tia Smith, TIA-SMITH. I'm a policy attorney with ACLU of Nevada. We are very excited about this bill. We are in full support, and we urge the committee to support it as well. Thank you.
Good morning. Angela Knott from the Washoe County Public Defender's Office, ANGELA-KNOTT. We fully support SB 323. We believe that this will be an important step to help prevent recidivism when someone is released from incarceration. We've heard throughout this whole session how important family support is when you are released. And we believe, I made some notes here, I mean, it provides stability, emotional strength, and accountability. So you want to prove to your family that you are a better person and you want that better life. And this is just one step to get you there. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair John Pirro from the Clark County Public Defender's Office. I'd like to thank Chair Scheibel and Max for bringing this bill forward. Last session, we were incredibly impressed with Max. He went through the Nevada Youth Legislature process, did not get his bill selected, and still brought this bill last session, presented it to this body, got it approved, and now we see the results that it's working. I'm grateful for them bringing it back. Max is an amazing representative of Nevada. We hope that he comes back to the state after Yale, and if he ever decides to be a lawyer, the Public Defender's Office would definitely hire him.
Right on.
Tanya Brown, TONJABROWN, Advocates for the Inmates and the Innocent. We would like to thank the presenters. This is a wonderful bill, and we ask that you continue funding this bill. SB 323 reduces emotional strain. Many incarcerated women experience isolation, and regular communications with their loved ones can and does provide emotional support and stability. Family ties during incarceration can and does improve mental health and is instrumental in reducing recidivism rates. Well done to the presenters. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else in support? Okay. I don't see anyone in Las Vegas Broadcasting. Will you open the lines, please?
If you would like to testify in support of Senate Bill 323, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Caller?
Caller with the last 3 digits, 130. Please press star 6 to unmute your phone. Again, caller with the last 3 digits, 130. Please press star 6 to unmute your phone. Chair, I am unable to get this caller to connect.
Okay, we know that sometimes happens, so if they are able to tap in at some point while we're still in testimony, I will accept their testimony. With that, I will go ahead and move to opposition testimony. Not seeing anyone here in Carson City or Las Vegas Broadcasting, will you please open the lines?
If you would like to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 323, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. You may begin.
Good morning. My testimony. Good morning. This is Denise Heredia, Atredia, and my testimony is actually in support, but I was unable to connect just now. So thank you, Chair Miller, for still accepting my testimony.
Absolutely.
I'm Associate Director of Return Strong, and we are in support of SB 323. Family connection is essential for successful rehabilitation and reintegration, and half of incarcerated people are parents of minor children. And for many, this single phone call is their only link to their families. So this bill is an important step towards a system that values people over profits, and we urge you to pass SB 323, and we thank Max and the bill sponsors for championing this cause. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, that was our support testimony. We're still in opposition. I will accept any phone calls in opposition to Senate Bill 323.
Chair, the public line is open and working. There are no other callers for opposition at this time.
Thank you. Then I will open it up for neutral testimony.
Thank you, Chair Miller and members of the committee. My name is James Zurenda, D-Z-U-R-E-N-D-A. I'm the Director for the Nevada Department of Corrections. When you look at the mission for the Nevada Department of Corrections is providing tools for the offender so that they succeed in the community once they're released. And the reason for that is because of the recidivism rates. Most of the, I would say probably all of the country's prisons and jails get most of their evidence-based programming from what's called the National Institute of Corrections. National Institute of Corrections does the studies that provide the best and the most successful evidence-based programming so that states can refocus their programming to areas where you can make the best bang for the buck for the money. Because you'll get the most results out of what you're doing. And they identified that family reunification and family support and community support is one of their top 10 categories of making offenders more successful when they get back out into the community. That's all I have.
Thank you. So, Director, and you know I ran a prisoner reentry program years ago before coming to Nevada, and family reunification was a major component of that program. And I'm so glad, we don't have to have family reunification if we never have family disconnection, right? So I'm so glad that we're at this point where we're trying to keep families together, connected. That means, my question is, and this is not a finance committee, this is not a money committee. I'm assuming it got out because it's here, but my question would be are there ways that the department could, if there wasn't as much funding available or needed, or if at some point during the biennium, something happened with the funding, do you feel this bill offers flexibility to still, it may not be daily, but to offer some flexibility to where the department would still be able to work within the financial means to still make something happen from a program point of view?
So James Renner, for the record, there's two pieces that I think would be able to work in this. When you talk about finances, we talk about revenues. Revenues that come into the Department of Correction through the tablet program will exceed more than what is actually needed in an offender store fund or a inmate welfare account. The inmate welfare account pays for the staffing that is still left in the not part of the general fund. It pays for programs. It pays for equipment, basketball equipment, that type of stuff for the offenders so everybody can benefit from it. There will be more than what is necessary or needed. There's ways that you can identify the revenues that come in for that to pay for certain things like this. But it probably won't be as large of a scope as doing the whole state, but it could actually be narrowed down to be immediate family or identify certain specific individuals that can prove certain categories that we would want to have approved to bring the cost down. There is that way, but also there's also grants. Grants go towards funding for programs, and this is actually, even it doesn't look like it, this is a program for reentry, and there are ways that we can get certain grants that we can focus on for this purpose as well.
Thank you. Additionally, because it reminds me that sometimes we have women, it's not, hearing the story about the little girl, sometimes it's not kids, we have women that literally birth babies and then have to surrender those babies. In those cases, I know that obviously there's strict guidelines around who, ensuring this is a family member. In those instances where it is my infant or someone who's not able to actually talk on the phone with me, could be even a child with special needs, that child's not able to actually maybe necessarily communicate back to me. I know they hear mothers, but they may not be able to verbally communicate back. Is this program, does it enable the caretaker, the guardian, the whoever has custody and is taking care of that child to speak to the mother?
So James Renner, for the record, yes, but there's an issue that we have to look at to make sure that they're not co-defendants in cases. We're making sure that they're not victims of the crime. That has to happen first because it does happen between family members with domestic violence. But also what was not brought into this too is we're offering now video visiting through those tablets as well. So a lot of the communication is not just going to be verbally, it'll be through, because some have family members that are not even in this country, but it'll actually connect through video as well.
Thank you so much. Okay. With that, where are we? We're in neutral, right? Okay, with that, I will go ahead and open up the telephone lines for testimony in neutral.
Public line is open and working. There are no callers for neutral at this time.
Okay, thank you so much. Then I will close testimony and welcome the bill presenters back for any additional comments or anything.
Melanie Scheibel, for the record, thank you so much for hearing this bill this morning. I'll turn it over to Mr. Greenstein for any closing remarks, and also we're happy to answer any questions that may have come up during the testimony.
Thank you, Senator Scheibel. Max Greenstein for the record. I will just ditto what Senator Scheibel and the people who testified noted, and I'll say that I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee might have before the end of the session, and I'll share that memo that we discussed with the committee. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Mr. Greenstein, I'm going to ask you to stay on Zoom right now. I'm going to go ahead and close the hearing on Senate Bill 323, and we're going to go ahead and move into a work session. Speaker has given us a permission to waive Rule 57, Section 4, which is our 24-hour rule, so we're able to immediately work session a bill. So I would like to entertain a motion to do pass Senate Bill 323. So moved. I have a motion from Vice Chair Marzola. Do I have a second? Oh, I have a bunch of seconds. I'll take a second from Assemblymember LaRue Hatch. Members, any discussion or questions? Assemblymember Urick.
Thank you, Chair. As indicated in my question in the hearing, I'll vote yes to get this out of committee, but want a chance to review the material that the presenter will send to me, and so I'll reserve my final vote for the floor.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Okay. No additional questions or concerns? Members, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, and the motion passes unanimously. I'll assign that floor statement to Assemblymember LaRue Hatch. So, you're welcome. So, Mr. Greenstein, your bill is headed to the floor. Thank you so much. And we wish you the best and hope to see you again. And Piero has a job for you when you get back. So, all right. Thank you so much, folks. So just to give you, we're going to go into public comment now. So, thanks. Anyone here in Carson City wishing to make public comment?
Tanya Brown, TONJA, I know it's the end of the legislative session, and I just want to say thank you very much for your hard work.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your activism and participation in the process. Not seeing anyone in Las Vegas. Broadcasting, please open the lines.
If you would like to provide public comment, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Again, if you would like to provide public comment, please press star 9 now. Chair, there are no callers wishing to provide public comment at this time.
Thank you. Then I will go ahead and close public comment. And just to give members kind of idea what's happening today, I am going to recess today. We are not coming back into committee, most likely. I mean, there's no 100% ever, right? And especially, but my plan is not to come back into committee. I'm just waiting to possibly work session another bill today, but we could do that behind the bar, okay? So that's why I'm just going to recess. We've done public comment, so then we could work session that last bill behind the bar, and then I will adjourn from the floor. Okay, so we are in recess.